Well, hi and welcome to another episode of Get Out and Shoot, the series of videos where I try and encourage you guys to get out and shoot in your local area. This week I'm in Brighton. Yeah, I appreciate that's not my local area, but all will be explained in the following video. And also, if you're interested at the end, if you've hashtagged anything on Instagram with the really easy to remember hashtag RPGOAS, then one of your photos might be coming up, so stick around for that. Anyway, on to the video. Hope you enjoy it. Well, good morning and welcome to another episode of Get Out and Shoot, the series of videos where I try and encourage you to get out and shoot in your local area. Yeah, I know, there's the elephant in the room. Okay, let's address that. What the hell am I doing in Brighton? Well, it's not my local area, admittedly, but I'm not here for photography. I'm here because my daughter is having an interview at Brighton University, and I've come along with her because I've had to bring her down and make sure that she's okay and then get her home safely. So this is kind of a get out and shoot because I needed to just find something to do in the time that she's being interviewed and I'm sitting here around twiddling my thumbs. So I decided to come out and take advantage of that and come here and shoot the old West Pier here at Brighton. So I did do a little bit of research before I came out, had a little look around, see what was about, and the West Pier seems the most interesting thing to shoot. Now, how is this going to relate to you guys getting out and shooting in your local area? Well, if you live in Brighton, then, you know, perfect. But if you don't, think of it as like getting out and trying to shoot some pylons, you know, some of the large electricity pylons or large structures, something like that. So, yeah, something along those lines. So how exactly am I going to shoot this pier? Well, that's a good question. The tide is receding. In a perfect world, I'd like the tide in all the way past these struts that are sort of part of the old pier, so I could get a nice long exposure shot with those in the water and the remains of the pier out to the sea. But unfortunately, the tide is receding, but it's still hanging around the last 4 struts down the bottom. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for a semi-long exposure, nothing too major, just to try and capture the movement of the water, but also to smooth it out a little bit. Try and get it just while it's still around these 4 struts at the bottom here. They're going to be on the right hand side of the image. The main pier is going to be on the left hand side of the image, and I'm going to just try and shoot it like there's a guy going swimming. What a loony. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm going to try and do. So I'm going to set up, have a look, and then I'll run through my settings with you. So let's talk about a few details of this first setup. It's cold, by the way. Swimmers are back. They've come in, didn't last long out there, not surprised. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the details of this setup. I'm shooting a panoramic, so I've got the tripod nice and level. I am shooting with a 6-stop ND filter on, and I've got it at f11, and that's giving me, I'm bracketing as well, but it's giving me a correctly, if you like, exposed time of 0.5 of a second, so half a second exposure. Nothing major, nothing too long. I don't want to completely smooth out the water at the moment. So yeah, I'm just shooting it with a like I said, a half a second exposure. I've focused on the main structure at the back. I've got some of the beaching in the foreground, but that's pretty much really just so I've got a bit of room to manoeuvre when I crop it down. I probably won't have any beaching. I want the struts on the bottom of the struts on the lower bit of the picture. I'm aiming for the horizon about a third of the way up. Possibly, I might change that when I get into post, but I'm not sure. Another thing that I really fancy doing from here is a little bit of sort of very subtle ICM. So I'm going to try that, and I'll talk you through that when I get around to it. trying a little bit of ICM now, and I'm doing it in the horizontal axis. So I've got it on f16 and the exposure time's around about 1.6 seconds. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking the shot and then I'm just moving the camera in the horizontal axis as I'm taking it. Sounds pretty simple really, pretty straightforward. It takes a little bit of experimentation. I'm going to go through an awful lot of shots probably before I get one that I like, but you know, we'll see how it goes and we'll give that a shot. Oh, by the way, do you like the new hat? I got it for my birthday. Thank you very much to my lovely wife Beth. And it's keeping my ears nice and toasty. Another shot I thought I'd have a crack at while I was here is just these 4 struts. Thought I'd come down to where the waves are lapping around the base of them and try and get some sort of I don't know, fine arty type shot with the waves receding away and coming in. So I've taken quite a few. The sweet spot I found is around about f13. It's given me a 1.8 second exposure. Because I'm shooting away from the sun, it should be quite nice. It shouldn't get any issues with blowing any highlights or anything like that. And yeah, just been waiting for the tide to come in, recede back a little bit, almost getting my feet wet a couple of times actually, and yeah, just taking a shot. So see how that one works out. So just finishing off now with a classic, just a single portrait orientation shot of the pier out to sea. I've got the 10 stop on because it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? 5 second exposure, f11, bracketed, so I'll have one that's slightly shorter, so I can have a look at that one that's slightly longer. Get the sea nice and smooth. You know, I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's good to have it in the bag just in case. Get the sea nice and smooth. See where we go with that, and then I'm done, because to be honest with you, it's cold. We'll get it back home and we'll have a look at editing one of the images.
So here we are in Lightroom, and the shot that I'm going to focus on with the editing side of this video is the ICM image that you will have already seen. What I'm aiming to get with this is a very high key, high contrast image, very fine arty. So that's my starting point. That's my what I'm visualizing in my head for this shot. So let's start with a bit of cropping, I think, because I don't want any of this beach in at all. In the shot, but I do want to give the bottom of the post a little bit of room to breathe, so I'm probably going to have to clone in some water down at the bottom here. Clearly that is not level, so let's level it off. Yeah, that's good. Let's just pull this down a little bit, but nothing major. Yeah, so I'm thinking about there looks good to me. Pull that in a bit there. Right, okay, so there's the crop. That looks good so far. The next thing I want to do is I want to convert this to black and white, because I want this to be a black and white image. Now what I'm going to do now is pull the highlights up and drop the shadows down, which is probably excuse me, probably the opposite to what you would expect. I want to pull the whites out, and I want to pull the blacks down a touch, contrast it up a little bit, I think somewhere around about there. Pull the texture out, clarity, I might just leave that alone. I'll pull it up a little bit, maybe just drop this dehaze down, because I want a little hint of something in the sky here, but I want the focus really to be a very contrasty, very stark black and white high key image. So there is a bit of detail in the sky, but there are areas that are blown out, but that's perfectly fine because that's kind of what I'm going for. Okay, so let's have a look. Can we do anything with exposure? I don't want to put it too far up, but yeah, about there. That looks quite good to me. I think I'm happy with that. Maybe just drop it down a little bit, actually, just get a little bit more detail. Keep a little bit of detail in the sky. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into Photoshop and I'm just going to clone this little bit of beach away and just do a little bit of touching up. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, and as I said, I just want to just get rid of this area here. So I'm just going to use the lasso selection tool, and I'm just going to roughly pull that up and down and drop it back, and then Shift and F5, and got content aware fill, and let's see what this does. There you go, and that's spot on. That's absolutely great. Yep, that's pretty good. Just do a few little minor adjustments to it. Just pull down the size of that clone stamp. Let's just clone that a little bit there. What have I got it on? Oh, I've got it on lighten. Actually, I might just change that to darken and just darken off some of this area. It's only very subtle adjustments, but let's just bump the opacity up a bit there. Ooh, no. Undo that. Yeah, probably made that worse. Okay, so yeah, there's a little bit of adjustment gone in there, nothing major. I just want to make sure there's a few sort of, you can see where it's cloned it, or where it's done the content aware fill. It's sort of using this bit here, so we're getting these lines in here. I just want to get rid of those. Just to introduce them up there instead. Hang on, let's just go back. Let's pull that brush size down a little bit. There you go, that's kind of got rid of those. And that's pretty good there, I think. What else do I want to do? I want to get rid of these. So I'm just going to use the square or the rectangular select, because I've got a reasonably straight line here that I can work with. Shift and F5 and clone those out. I'm not fussed about those two, I think they're okay. It's just those two were a little bit jarring. Maybe this bit here. Let's check to see what's in the water. There's a few bits and pieces that we can just get rid of. They're not major annoyances really, but if they're not there, then you're not going to see them at all, are you? I'll leave that there. Get rid of this one over here. Maybe that little bit there. Okay, so let's have a look at that now. Yeah, so let's clone that bit of sand out, taking out a few distractions. Yeah, I like that. I'm happy with that there. Let's save that out and go back into Lightroom. Okay, so here we are back in Lightroom, and I'm quite happy with that. It's quite a striking image. It's not perhaps what you would expect to take from there, but I wanted to do something along with the traditional stuff. I wanted to do something very different, and I feel that this here is definitely very different. I'm just going to have a little play and see if there's anything that would just enhance this image at all. I'll maybe pull that down a touch just to get a little bit more detail in the sky. I don't want to go messing about with the shadows too much. Maybe just drop the whites a little bit. Yeah, just pull that texture up. I quite like that actually. Pulled up a little bit. The haze. Not really sure that's adding anything. I don't know, I quite like that. Do I like it like that, or do I like it like that? No, I think I like it as it was. Might put a slight vignette on. Oh yeah, quite like that, just to bring down the corners. And that, I think I'm really happy with. So there is the final image from my little bit of ICM experimentation over in Brighton. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. I hope maybe it's giving you some inspiration to get out and shoot, maybe travel to Brighton for the day, I don't know, or, you know, just take something locally. But I hope it's giving you some inspiration. I hope you enjoyed the post-processing part as well. And as I promised earlier, here are some images that you guys have posted on Instagram with the hashtag RPGOAS. Please keep them coming. I really appreciate them. I'll feature some more in my next video. And yeah, until then, thanks ever so much for watching, and here are some of your images.